Hi there. I think that if you believe that the financial situation, the economical situation will get better, especially when you're in the US, uh, I think you're wrong. And there's a reason why I believe that, and that is because I think it has a different function than what you believe it has. There's a financial crisis, which of course is a crisis in confidence between banks that now has transferred to a crisis in confidence between countries and the whole money printing thing. But that could be resolved very quickly. And I'm not going to explain how, but it's quite obvious that you can cancel the debt, and you can make everybody default. You can go to the banks and say, well, let me look at your balance sheet. If that house has defaulted and the guy is not going to pay their mortgage loan payments, interest payments, then of course you have to write it off. And you can go around the country like that, like a raiding party to every bank that is lying, and then some banks will fail, and that's too bad. So you can solve this problem. The reason why it's not being solved is that it has a different function. It has the function of keeping people disoriented, chaotic, pitted against each other, in a kind of a paralysis. And that paralysis is actually the police state that you're fearing. That is what Alex Jones is talking about. So what I would say is, if you want to wait until it gets better, don't. Before you do something, for instance, before you start rebuilding, before you start thinking about something, doing something else. It's just like people that don't want to have, let's say they're too busy to have a relationship. That's nonsense. You were never too busy to have a relationship, because if you have a relationship, you will be very busy. There's no, next month or something like that. Maybe it's just people that don't like me enough, but I guess that's it. But it doesn't work. It doesn't work. You have to change things now. And my advice is, and I see resonance with that increasing, is to go agoracentric, is to go oriented towards a town square, towards local capabilities, local resources. That is, you can see that in the fact that Washington, for instance, wants to have more food production in the state, that different states want to have their own banks in the same style as the Bank of North Dakota, which is a non-profit bank and is publicly owned. And it's good, because you basically are up against a group of people that want to use fossil fuels as long as possible, that don't mind about destroying land, about poisoning it, because I've actually there's a researcher, a woman researcher, that found that if you do fracking for natural gas, you actually release uranium from the rock in the ground. Of course, there's uranium everywhere apparently, and it enters the groundwater, and it's not radioactive, but it is very poisonous. So by fracking, by drilling for natural, or by trying to get natural gas out of the ground, by doing hydraulic fracking, you're actually polluting your groundwater in a way that is really dangerous. That uranium, plutonium are poisonous, just like lead. Polonium, you know that the guy that was assassinated using polonium-112. So you really don't want that to happen. And surprise, the International Energy Agency just determined that there's twice as much natural gas reserves as we thought, because it is now counting in fracking as a viable method to do that. So we have enough natural gas for 350 years in the future, according to this agency, which clearly now is completely corrupted by people that don't care about the people that live on these lands where the fracking occurs. So you have a group of people at the helm that are like that are basically genocidal, that don't care about the masses, that have low wages, let's say sub 1 million, you could almost say. And that's evident. And in order to counter that, you need to kind of cut them off. You need to make yourself unavailable to them. You need to start boycotting all these corporations that are part of that group. And maybe there's corporations that don't want to be that cruel or mean and try to stay away from them, but they still have some entanglements with banks like Facebook, for instance. I guess there's no real harm in Facebook unless it tries to milk you for every last penny, because then it's abusing your basic need to be socially networked, and there should be another social network that you become a member of. But not to make this story too long, don't wait for it to get better. Make sure that it gets better for you right now, and support people locally. I'm now involved in an initiative in my home village where we try to set up an energy cooperative, and it's a really nice process too. So just get involved with some project locally and make sure that that works, and keep an eye on the fact that you're not going to be dealing and entangled and having to be dependent on anybody that you don't really know, that is from a long way away, let's say more than 50 miles or something like that. A bank. Avoid them like the plague. And if everybody would do that, doesn't really matter your state, how, if you're very poor or whatever, then that would immediately turn things around. I believe that. I think it's quite clear, because what these banks need, and these people in the plutonomy, which is a name they made up themselves, is they need people that are paralyzed by fear and that are waiting for things to get better. So don't wait.